In one of my previous video, I talked about Jennifer's murder plan on her own parents. If you haven't checked that out, you can go ahead and click on the upper right corner, and it will take you directly to the video. Today, we'll be talking about a similar tragedy where the daughter was forced to retake the exam for medical school for 9 consecutive years just because her mother wanted her to become a doctor. In order to strictly take full control of her life, her mother would take a bath with her to monitor her, make sure she wasn't wasting any time. But she couldn't make it to medical school. Her mother compromised and allowed her to become a midwife, but unfortunately, she didn't make it either. Therefore, the tension between them had gotten worse. In the end, the daughter could not take it anymore. She killed her mother and dismembered her body and threw them into the river. Hello everyone, let's investigate here. Today, we'll be talking about a murder that happened in Shigaken, Japan. A daughter murdered her own mother and dismembered the body. So what was the motive? Why would she do this to her mother? Let's go ahead and start the story. Nozomi Kiryu was born in Shigaken, Japan, to a middle-class family. Her father was a mechanic, and he often had to be relocated, so he barely spent time with his family. When Nozomi was in elementary school, he moved to an apartment near his company, therefore the family was split up. Nozomi grew up with her mother, Shinobi Kiryu. Nozomi was quiet and shy when she was little. She hoped she could attend college one day. But if not, it's no big deal. She thought she would start working instead. But her mother had high expectations for her and wanted her to become a doctor. Therefore, her mother had planned out Nozomi's life for her, and she hoped Nozomi could follow her plan accordingly. Nozomi didn't want to let her down, so she worked extremely hard toward this one goal, which is to attend and graduate from a medical school and become a licensed doctor. But in high school, her grades were not good enough compared to her peers. That was when she realized that it was nearly impossible for her to apply for medical school. But her mother did not give up on her. She insisted Nozomi to try and apply for medical school. Nozomi applied in 2005, but was unable to get into any of them. Her mother lied to relatives, saying that Nozomi had already been admitted to the medical school, and then forced Nozomi to lie as well. This was when Nozomi started to feel disgusted by her mother's action. She didn't want to go to school anymore. She wanted to start working, but at the time, she was still under 20-year-old, so she would need her mother to sign a legal form if she wanted to work. And of course, we all have guessed, her mother will never agree to this. She forced Nozomi to reapply for medical school, and this time around, she was even more strict, not allowing any free time for Nozomi. Her mother would confiscate her phone and end her social life. She would even take a shower with her just to make sure she wasn't wasting any time. Nozomi tried to run away from home 3 times, but her mother would always find a way to track her down and bring her back. Nozomi continued to live like this for the next 9 years. Her mother just wouldn't give up on the dream of her daughter becoming a doctor. 9 years after Nozomi retakes the exam, her mother finally allowed her to apply for nursing department of Shiga Medical University School of Medicine on the condition of becoming a midwife, and she was admitted in 2014. In college, Nozomi realized that she wanted to become a nurse in the operating room instead of a midwife. At the same time, she failed to pass the midwife exam requested by her mother. The admission notice was also rejected by her mother, asking her to re-enter the midwife school, and even forced her to sign a contract, asking her to guarantee that even if she wasn't admitted, she would not become a nurse. In summer of 2017, Nozomi landed an internship as a nurse in the operating room, but her mother forced her to give up on this opportunity and to focus on passing the midwife exam. The physically and mentally exhausted, Nozomi wanted to be free from her mother's control. Then she started to have this hope that her mother would just disappear. She even started to search on different ways of murdering a person online. Due to her mother's strict rules, Nozomi was usually quiet and shy. She didn't have much interaction with other people because of her introvert personality. She didn't know who to talk to when she feels stressed out, so she started to write down her feelings as drafts in her email, sometimes in her diary. She tried for the last time and begged her mother to let her apply for nurse in the operating room, but her mother refused and yelled, "Why are you so stubborn? Just listen to me. I am your mother." Her mother then continued to scold her for the entire night. And Nozomi was about to break down as she wrote this down in her email. "This is it. I have nowhere to go. There were so many opportunities, but I didn't do it. Now I regret it. I should have done it a long time ago. I'm not scared anymore. I'm going to do it." On January 19th, 2018, they had a small argument, but after both had calmed down, Nozomi offered a massage for her mother. Her mother fell asleep during the massage, and Nozomi stabbed her mother in the neck with a hidden knife. Her mother woke up due to the immense pain, and Nozomi was afraid she would start screaming. Then she stabbed her mother a few more times. Nozomi felt relieved while sitting beside her mother's corpse, and went on Twitter and tweeted, "I finally took down the monster. I am finally free." She then chopped off her mother's hands and feet and threw it into combustible trash, and put her body in a trash can and moved it to the river 250 meters away from the house. In March 2018, a pedestrian was strolling down the riverbank and saw a bone floating on the river. He then phoned the police. After the police realized the bone was from a human body, they quickly locked down the area. After DNA analysis, they found out the bone belonged to Shinobu. In June of the same year, the police arrested Nozomi on suspicion of abandoning the corpse. Although the suspect confessed to abandoning the corpse, she firmly denied the murder of her mother and that she took her own life. It was not until the verdict of the first instance that she finally confessed to the crime. The second instance judgment stated that the mother's interference with the daughter has reached an abnormal level, and the process that finally led to the daughter's murder of her mother has something worthy of sympathy. The 15-year imprisonment in the first instance was changed to 10 years. During an interview, she said that she felt freedom for the first time in her life. She met some criminals who were of a similar age to her mother, and this made her think about Shinobu. Every mother wishes nothing but the best for her children, and Shinobu simply wanted her daughter to succeed and live a much better life. But Shinobu was way too extreme and resulted in this tragedy. If Nozomi had reached out to some professionals and talked about her situation, she could have received some help and possibly prevented this horrendous murder.